Hey, how's it going guys? Jackson here with the Toasty Bros, and today we're going to be reviewing the top 5 keyboards that are under $40 off of Amazon. Hope you guys enjoy. And this video is brought to you by Squarespace, today's sponsor. If you want to build a beautiful online presence, don't forget to watch till the end of this video to learn more about how to do that. Let's get right into this video, shall we? So you guys know that we really love doing these keyboard review videos because it's honestly exciting for us to see $20 keyboards, $30 keyboards, and now $40 mechanical keyboards. These are actually all mechanical, which is really awesome. It's gonna be really exciting unboxing these and seeing just how well they all pair. Okay guys, so the first keyboard is from REDRAGON, which is a company that we've actually really come to like. This obviously is just the mechanical keyboard coming in at $39.99 right at the end of the budget. This is the REDRAGON K552. And it's the black version that comes in black or white, and it claims to have Cherry MX Blues, which if you actually scroll down in the description, it says it has the Autumn Blue, which is the Cherry MX equivalent. Technically not Cherry Blues, which is funny because the title says Cherry MX Blues. Let's go ahead and unbox this and see what we got. So this keyboard claims to have RGB, which it seems to, oh gosh, that was close, which seems to be the general consensus with all these keyboards as far as I'm aware. So we have an 87 key keyboard here, Autumn Blue switches, so they're gonna be very clicky with a very, very heavy feedback and everything. So yeah, getting the keyboard out, really simple, not a lot of stuff included. Good looking keyboard though, and it's actually kind of heavy, which we'll go ahead and do the weight test here in just a second. But overall though, just looking at the keyboard, I like the nice recessed backplate, really thick bezel design as well. It does have stands, which I'm sure most of these will, with rubber feet, anti-slide, which is nice. So it's a pretty good looking 10 keyless keyboard. We have our typical arrow keys, and man, these Autumn Blues, they're loud. They are real loud. So honestly, the keyboard's pretty good looking, pretty heavy, really, really large, bold lettering. So let's go ahead and weigh it, and then let's go ahead and take a keycap off and kind of see what we got. All right guys, so this keyboard comes in right around 814, 815 grams. So, you do your conversions there. We're just gonna compare all these in grams so that you can see which one's the heavier one. All right, we're gonna go for the easiest one. This one's always the fun one to get out, the escape key. All right, so just exactly what we thought to see. Basic Autumn Blue, which typically you can look on the front or the tops of these and you can actually read whether they're kale or autumn or cherry switches. This one's obviously an autumn switch. So yeah, I mean the keycaps also, they're pretty decent looking, and they're not like anything crazy like double shot or anything like that. But yeah, I mean overall though, the keyboard looks pretty good. Let's go ahead and actually plug it in and do a little typing test. All right, gamers, look at that. We got some actual RGB fluctuation going on. So right over here off to the side, you hold the function key, just like with most of these keyboards, and then you can actually go through and find some different RGB visual effects. This one's just held on RGB. It looks like this one's that nice little burst and everything. And this over here is actually pretty cool. We actually have a like L1 through 8, which are actually like basically standard gaming layouts, like WASD are highlighted, WASD, and then the QWERTY keys and stuff like that. So it's cool that they integrate this in case there's anyone who really does some heavy gaming and doesn't want to get a super expensive keyboard. Well, here you go. You can actually get a nice little gaming layout for you to kind of memorize what key does what. All right, so now I've actually put my lav right on the edge of the table, and we're actually going to go ahead and do a little typing test here. Alright guys, so just like the last couple of videos we did, we have a 1 through 5 here in masking tape on our nice little benchmarking table. So let's go ahead and figure out where we're going to put this first keyboard. So really good looking RGB, fully functional RGB, which is pretty cool. Pretty good looking switches. It's REDRAGON, which is a pretty well trusted brand. It's a nice black keyboard. So I'm just going to go ahead and put it at number 2 for now. I guess technically you could call it number 1 since we don't have anything else. The next keyboard up, being a little bit cheaper at $35.99, so saving almost $5, this is the VICTSING, I think I'm saying the name right, 104 keys, so it's a full-size keyboard, and it claims to have red mechanical switches, but on this page it didn't even claim what kind, so I'm curious to find out what type of switches it actually has in it. It claims to have double shot injection keycaps, which is pretty cool, so yeah, let's go ahead and open it up. All right, so getting into the box here, this is obviously one of the less colorful and beautiful boxes, but hey, a box is a box, right? We do have, you know, basic anti-slides. We actually have the rubber feet up here instead of on the actual sliders themselves. And okay, this is really weird. I think the wrist rest basically comes attached, and if you want to take it off, you gotta kind of get like a screwdriver in there or something and pop those tabs off. But you know, I'm not gonna lie, actually, this is a cool looking backplate. It has like a red backplate just to really show you how red these switches are. So, okay, they definitely are gritty. They definitely feel like they need some lube in their life. We actually have some, I guess these are lights up top. They almost look like buttons, but I guess they're lights. This is definitely an interesting looking keyboard compared to the other one. We don't have the same thick bezels on the side like the REDRAGON. The keycaps are very raised up out of the actual bezel of the keyboard. The wrist rest is solid. There's really, I mean, it has like a texture to it, but it's a solid wrist rest. Overall though, I mean, I'd say for 35 bucks, pretty good build quality. Let's go ahead and see how much this bad boy weighs. All right, putting it onto the scale now. And it looks like, oh, 902 grams. This one's actually heavier than the 10 keyless one, which obviously should be a little bit of a telltale sign because you have this much of the keyboard missing on the other one. So technically, I would say this one would be lighter if we didn't have the extended section on there. So let's go ahead and pop off a keycap and see what we're working with. All right, once again, going for the escape key because that's always the easy way out. And it looks like we have, what does that even say? It looks like it says KRGD. Someone in the comments translate that. It definitely doesn't say kale. It definitely doesn't say Gatreon. Definitely doesn't say cherry. So yeah, we'll have to look that up because that's very interesting. Tell you what though, these keys, they have a lot of wobble to them. That's actually, I don't know, I'm somewhat not a fan of that. I feel like I've never checked to see if keycaps have a lot of wobble on a keyboard, but these stems definitely, I guess it's the stems, yeah, they definitely have a decent amount of play to them back and forth, so that's a little bit weird. And I feel like we wouldn't see that on some of the more name brand switches, but yeah, let's go ahead and get it plugged in and see if we have any like RGB on it and then do a typing test. All right, so we actually have the keyboard plugged in now. One thing I did actually forget to mention is this does have a nice thick braided cable. So for some of you, that might be a really nice added on feature compared to the REDRAGON. But going through, I can kind of see why they did this red backplate now. I think that's literally to get the LED color because this does not appear to have RGB on it. Looks like we just have different functions of red. And I don't know if there's one that even moves. So that's definitely, oh, there we go, okay. Over on the FN using like the delete and end key, we can actually get some pretty nice looking patterns going. So that's kind of cool. So yeah, I mean the keyboard though is, like I said, it's pretty good looking. Let's go ahead and detach my mic and do a little typing test. Okay, so I mean typing, you know, I actually prefer red switches. But you know, for this being a cheaper keyboard, you know, it's not the end of the world that they're a little bit gritty. Like I said, definitely I think it has to do with them just being super knockoffs. So yeah, you know, you get what you get. You paid $35.99, you know, what do you expect? So one huge takeaway is that this does not have RGB. It looks like it's just red. Some people might absolutely hate that. Some people might not care at all about the RGB and just want something with basic red switches. So if you're one of those people that just wants basic red switches, I definitely recommend this keyboard, but if you're someone that wants like RGB or even like 10 keyless, this is obviously not the keyboard for you. So price point, we are saving about $5. I'm not a fan that it doesn't have RGB, but I feel like that shouldn't be a deal breaker. So it's also not 10 keyless, but I feel like for a lot of people, it's not gonna really affect them. I'm just gonna go ahead, I don't know, I'm gonna put it here. And one big reason too is that I have no clue what those switches are, which is kind of iffy. We're gonna go ahead and call it number 3 for now, just to get a nice baseline. But so right now we have REDRAGON at number 2, and then we have the VICTSING, or I don't even remember how to say it, just whatever it is at number 3. So let's go ahead and go to the next keyboard. So let's give a big thanks to Squarespace once again, which is today's sponsor with this right here.
Building a website can be very time consuming, especially if you have a million of other things to worry about in your life. Well, today's video sponsor, Squarespace, makes building a website much simpler than you think. Squarespace is the best place to build a website for whatever you're doing online. For example, let's say you want to take the skills that you've learned from this YouTube channel and open up a PC selling business. business. Squarespace has all the tools to make that possible. No matter your skill level, creating a website on Squarespace is simple. From setting up an e-commerce store to having easy access to SEO tools that'll help you reach your target market, Squarespace has you and your business covered. We took some time to build a simple website on Squarespace for our YouTube channel, and the service is so easy to use that even super busy content creators like ourselves managed to make something super cool in a short period of time. So what are you waiting for? Head on over to squarespace.com/ToastyBros to save 10% on your first purchase of a website or domain using code ToastyBros at checkout. Thanks again to Squarespace for being an awesome sponsor of the Toasty Bros. Now let's finish this video, shall we?
So the next keyboard up is from AUKEY. This is the KMG6 keyboard. It's 104 key, I believe, with blue switches. It comes in at $39 even. So let's go ahead and unbox it. So like I said, nothing really looked super different on this keyboard from the other ones. Besides, like I said, I believe it has blue. Yeah, definitely blue switches. Okay, so this keyboard definitely feels hefty. I feel like this one's gonna be the heaviest one yet. I'm almost positive I'm gonna be upset if I'm wrong. But the keycaps themselves are pretty solid looking. They're not like super duper wobbly like the other one. They feel like pretty standard blue switches. I think that they're probably gonna be Automu blues as well. You can see the bezel is just like the last one we did, very low profile design. The actual PCB plate's the same height as the actual bezel, so keys do stick up really far. No wrist rest, okay. This one definitely seems to be, I guess you could say, lacking some of the just standard look features that the REDRAGON one had, or even the VICTSING, or however you say it, one had. So hopefully we can make that up with some better looking switches. Maybe it weighs a little bit more, and maybe, you know, the typing test will actually overall be pretty good. So let's go ahead and weigh it and see exactly what we're working with here. All right, going on the scale, and we have, oh, look at that, 1.74 kilograms. So that is almost 100 more grams than the last full-size keyboard we just did. So I'm glad I was right. It's definitely a decent amount heavier. And like I said, you really can feel it. They're all plastic so far, but this one definitely has more of a, I guess, metally or just heavy, more durable feel than the other ones so far. So for some people, that could be a selling point. Let's go ahead and pop off a keycap using the provided keycap puller. And okay, we actually do have something different here. So we actually do have a different looking box switch this time. This actually is Automu blue switches. It actually says it right here. I probably should have made 100% sure that REDRAGON one really did have it. Okay, so with the actual REDRAGON keyboard back over here, I did just confirm these are definitely Automus. We just have a different style of switch. Okay, now that we confirmed that, let's go ahead and plug it in the laptop and see how it looks. All right, guys, so I'm actually already really liking this keyboard. We have a really similar layout with the L1 through L8, and then literally LR1, LR2, which I think was like the exact same thing on the REDRAGON one, so that's kind of interesting. But we over here just have one button to actually change the modes. And what's pretty cool is that this one actually has a decent amount of modes that I see on some more expensive keyboards. So nice fade in, fade out. This one here, we have a nice QWERTY design just to kind of know where the gaming stuff's at. Here's just a nice back and forth with the RGB. And then look at that, we actually have some pretty fluid looking RGB modes. I'm actually gonna have to give it some pretty decent props for that. Let's go ahead and do a typing test on it though. Okay, so that one sounded pretty decent. The spacebar definitely has a lot of like resonance. Like after you press it, you can kind of hear the springs continue to ring out for a second. But other than that though, it's a pretty decent sounding blue switch keyboard. I think that I'm actually going to make a decent decision here. I don't know, I think I'm actually going to have to move this one down to 4th. Also the fact that this one doesn't seem to have any sort of like name brand switch on it. At least the REDRAGON and the AUKEY have both had Automus on them, which is a well-known brand, definitely cheaper, but you know, well-known and trusted. So we now have the REDRAGON in 2nd, the AUKEY in 3rd, and then the VICTSING, however it's said, is now in 4th. So let's go to the next one. All right guys, we have another AUKEY one. This is the KMG14. This is a 10 keyless one. This one's actually $38.99 right now. This was a little bit cheaper prior to filming this video. It was like $36.99. So now it's a little bit on par with the other ones, but 10 keyless. And it claims to have Automu blue switches once again, not the box style, but just the regular stem ones. All right, so opening it up, this one definitely has a much more elegant box. They actually went with like a nice matte black color scheme. And okay, you know, it's definitely with no light on. It is very plain Jane, like very basic. Might be something that some of you like. Go ahead and pop these out. So we actually have rubber on the actual feet and rubber on the actual keyboard itself, which is nice. And overall though, good looking keyboard. Like I said, just very, very sleek. I mean, there's just not anything to it. So minimalistic. The keys actually do rest pretty deep inside of the actual bezel, but it almost looks frameless in a way. So because of that, we definitely have a much thicker frame. Obviously plastic, just like the others. Okay, these actually feel pretty darn good. Just for being the same exact ones as the other ones. Like some plastic in here that is bothering me. One thing I'm not a huge fan of is the two LEDs just like bare right there. Not even really labeled for what they are. I mean, I'm assuming like caps lock, scroll lock type deal, but I'm not a huge fan of that. It looks kind of tacky to me. Let's go ahead and get it on the scale and see what we have weight-wise. All right, so we are looking at, wow, 922 grams. So that actually is the same weight as the one right before the other AUKEY one, looking at almost a kilogram. So that's actually pretty good, pretty hefty. It's definitely, it's the heaviest 10 kilos one so far, compared to the REDRAGON one. It weighs like about 100 more grams than that one. So that's definitely cool. Yeah, so you really can't get this down in here for the escape key. Let's see if I can, okay, we'll go for, actually no, we shouldn't go for tab because that probably has a stabilizer on it. How about A? How about the A key? Oh, okay, let's see if, okay, we got it, guys. That was terrifying. I felt like we were gonna break something. Okay, so it does appear, yep, Autumn Blues. So like I said, these are the ones that don't have the actual box around them. Actually, you know, double shot and everything, which so far, by the way, every single keyboard has actually had double shot keycaps. So that honestly doesn't really seem to be a distinguishing feature for each one. But overall though, I mean, you know, it's decent looking. It has the blue switches. So far it's been very lackluster though, you know, without a wrist rest, no braided cable, just really basic, yet it's the same price as the other ones. So let's see if once again we can make up for that in RGB or typing test. Okay, so turning the keyboard on, so far this is actually the brightest looking RGB I've seen at the very moment. Oh, there we go. Okay, I was like, is it gonna change modes? Oh, look, this one actually has like color modes. Okay, so it doesn't have to just be RGB, although it might just be blue. So it looks like we have an option of going blue in many different ways. A lot of cool ways, a lot of ways that you would have on like a fancier keyboard. So that's actually pretty cool. And then RGB. Okay, so I mean, it looks like it has different, oh gosh, we're going crazy, guys, we're going crazy. Oh, look at that, it actually can, oh my gosh, I can do every color. This is like far more than the other ones that we've seen so far. So that's actually pretty exciting, and it actually has smooth RGB all the way through. So I think that's definitely gonna give us some points. Let's go ahead and do a quick typing test. Okay, so I mean, it actually sounds really good as well. I mean, like I said, it sounds just like the other blues, but I mean, I don't know, based on the RGB, this one's actually kind of winning me over. A pretty hefty weight as well for it being a 10 kilos like the REDRAGON. Normally I'd have to go REDRAGON, but I don't know, I think you guys are gonna be surprised what I'm gonna choose here. Like I said, you know, I think I'm feeling kind of ambitious here. And I personally feel like this one right now is sitting at #1. Just because, like I said, the robust RGB features on it really make this keyboard stand out. Because if we're being honest, all these keyboards being around the same price range, none of them are really like super, okay, this one's so much better than the other one. So really, I mean, they're all in a pretty equal playing field, but if I have to rate them, I'm just gonna say the fact that this one has as much RGB software built in as it does. It's from a somewhat trusted brand, being AUKEY and everything. It's actually, you know, you've probably heard of it, kind of like REDRAGON, so I'm gonna have to put that at #1 for now. Okay guys, and for the last keyboard, we have the Felicon AK33. This is once again a brand that I haven't really heard of and has some very Chinese looking lettering on the front that I'm not really too sure about. So this is actually an 82 key keyboard, which is kind of a weird number, I guess. So it's obviously 10 keyless and it's minus a little bit more keys than I'm normally used to. Supposedly has full RGB, blue switches that are mechanical, not too sure what brand yet, didn't say on the page. So let's go ahead and unbox it and see what it looks like. This is actually the first different colored keyboard. They've all been black. I'm actually looking over there and they all look really similar, but this one is going to really stick out like a sore thumb. It's definitely extremely lightweight. This is also the first one that I have seen that actually has a detachable, what appears to be like micro USB or micro USB-B. I really can't remember which one it is. That is a huge difference because that means you could get a braided cable for this. Not that this cable's bad looking. This is actually a decent looking white cable. It actually has a gold backplate, which is interesting. The backplate actually appears to be like aluminum, or the backplate actually appears to be some type of metal. It feels cheaper, but I mean, I would think it's like aluminum or something like that, which is kind of weird. This keyboard, once again, was $39.99. It does have anti-slide on the keyboard and anti-slide on the actual risers. Sits at a really nice height too. I like the keyboards that sit a little bit higher than the others. And okay. And I mean, look at this too. These keys don't have a crap ton of wobble to them, which just kind of, to me, means that it has a little bit of a higher build quality to it. So we do have the arrow keys built in. You can definitely tell that this is slightly smaller than your standard 10 keyless. This is kind of more in like the 65% scale. Because we still have like page up and down and like home and like the arrow keys. So it's not fully like a 60%, but if I had to guess, I'd say it's somewhere between like 65, 70% because it is missing some more keys than TKL. Okay, so as far as weight goes, wow, we only have 490 grams here. So this one's actually like half the weight of pretty much every keyboard we did. So this one, oddly enough, came with a brush, which is actually really cool for like getting in between the keys and whatnot. I'm not gonna lie, this is genius. I feel like I need one of these for my keyboards at home, but we'll go ahead and pull off the slightly larger escape key, slightly larger than normal. And it appears that we have, we got a weird brand here that is completely in Chinese. I think that these are their own custom-made switches, and they definitely feel and sound a little bit lighter than your standard blue switch. So we'll go ahead and pop that back on. Let's go ahead and get it plugged in and see how it actually looks. So I'm not gonna lie, guys, this it's hard to tell with these white keycaps, but this one actually has the brightest RGB that I've seen compared to all these other keyboards. I don't know if it's maybe because the white helps it stand out, but it is very easy to see all these keys. And I know that this camera lighting is making it look like this keyboard's blinding, but I promise it's a very nice matte white color scheme on the switches. They aren't super shiny or anything, so that's definitely good. But very fluid looking RGB. Let's see if we can actually figure out, because we don't appear to have like a function key. Okay, so I actually had to dive into the instructions because I couldn't find the function key, and it's up here. I don't know if that's something I should have known, but so we can actually turn down the lighting. So we have an on-off RGB, and then we just have off, and then we just have RGB. So that's definitely, that's a little bit of a letdown for sure. But nonetheless, good looking keyboard. As far as the color scheme goes, I mean, maybe the RGB is not as good because we just have a little bit of a higher quality keyboard. But like I said, these are not real like Automu Blue switches. They sound pretty decent, but let's go ahead and get a typing test. Okay, so the keyboard did sound really good. It actually feels like some of the nicer blue switches, surprisingly, and they sound and feel pretty good compared to the Automus. So I wouldn't necessarily say they're better, but I would say that they're actually on par. It doesn't feel like I got an inferior switch or anything. So yeah, let's go ahead and try to rate this one. This one's gonna be difficult. All right, guys, so I think I can confidently place this keyboard now. So because of the lackluster RGB, even though it's a nice refreshing change up and I like that it has the layout that it does, I think I'm actually going to put it in fourth. I think I'm gonna bump this, I think this is like the VICTSING one, or however you say it. I'm gonna bump that to last. And then this is going right here in fourth place, which is kind of hard to tell because these are very tall keyboards compared to this little guy. But basically in first place, we have the AUKEY 10 keyless one. This one just had really good RGB on it. One of the main reasons I chose it. Pretty nice Automu blue switches, if I remember correctly. And then the REDRAGON, once again, blue switches, that's second place. Pretty decent RGB, honestly, pretty much the same as this. I would have chose the REDRAGON one if it had better RGB, just because I trust REDRAGON. They're a really good company. And then third place, we have another AUKEY. This is the full-size one. Once again, pretty decent blue switches, and you know, overall a pretty good keyboard. I'm not really a huge fan of like full-size keyboards. And this one did kind of, I think, lackluster RGB as well. Obviously, we just talked about the AJazz one, or I don't know, one under like a totally different brand apparently, but number 4 because the RGB was like a huge letdown. Very bright though. If you don't need fluctuating RGB, or if you only want RGB, this is a good keyboard. But other than that, I couldn't bring myself to put it up here. And then lastly, I love red switches, but 5th place went to the VICTSING one because these were off-brand red switches. The keyboard overall just had a pretty cheap feel to it. You know, it's full size. The backlighting is only one color. So comparatively, all these keyboards have RGB. This one's only one color, so it kind of just fell short because of that. But other than that, I think if this was actually RGB, this probably could have been like 2nd or 1st, but sadly, because of the RGB, you just got booted all the way to the back. So if you guys want to buy any of these keyboards, which I do highly recommend checking some of these out because these are some really good keyboards for being under 50 bucks. I mean, come on, you really can't beat that for getting mechanical and RGB. Use links in the description down below because they are affiliate links and those do really help us out, so we really appreciate it if you guys do that. Also, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe, and also check out our other 2 YouTube channels and our Twitch in the middle down here below. Those will also be in the description. We really appreciate if you leave follows and subscribe. And of course, we will see you guys in the next one. Peace out.